one question we started asking every day too for our entire team is like, what did you sell yesterday and how did you contribute to revenue? Dude, your team will give you so many amazing insights. You let them give you amazing insights. If you have a problem and just say, hey guys, like, how do we solve this? Your team will tell you so many things that will actually be good ideas.
I was actually getting people just hanging up on me and being like, dude, I'm not even gonna like entertain it. And like 9 times out of 10, unless they want to sell super fast, if you built enough rapport, they'll be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the novations where I know it's gonna be somebody that's buying retail, I'll just list it through my realtor and I pay him 1% commission on it.
So Rav is going to share, he's got a presentation for everyone on how he has honestly been crushing it over the last several months. So Rav, I'll let you take the screen, bro. Go ahead and share everything you got. You can share your screen. You can do anything you want.
All
Um,
right, good.
I'm sure,
Appreciate it.
sure everyone's gonna have questions. So just drop them in the chat. We'll go over them whenever they make sense. So,
All right, cool. Yeah, so again, my name is Rob Bender, been in Level Up since March, and really just kind of honed in on our KPIs and stuff. Really was kind of just free balling it, just trying to sling deals before. So yeah, Chandler asked me to just make a quick presentation. I won't say it's the best. I'm gonna kind of just run down like I guess the three major things that kind of help my business out, and then answer any questions as best as I can. So hopefully, you guys can implement some of this stuff too. So just an introduction about myself. Began wholesaling in 2022, like the back end, before was trying to flip homes, flipped like 3 or 4 homes. The first two lost money on, made a little bit on the last two. And I was like, yeah, there has to be a better way to kind of, do these deals without having as much risk. And that's kind of where I found wholesaling. So right now, my current team, I have two full-time cold callers, a full-time and a part-time LM. Reason being is because I had a LM turnover literally last month, and the LM that I hired is going to be going on like a month-long leave. So I figured I'd just hire a part-time LM in the interim, just to kind of ramp her up when the full-time LM goes on her month-long leave. And then I also have a part-time data manager, pretty much just pulls lists, manages all my data, and kind of gives me back like breakdowns of how many calls it's taken on each list to get a lead, etc. She only works about 15 or 20 hours a week. And again, been in Level Up since March. I think the biggest thing that kind of helped 3x my deal size, because before, I was making maybe 8K on an assignment fee. Now we're probably like 23 and a half, 24,000 per deal. And that's simply just because we started doing an MLS strategy and mostly targeting turnkey homes. So that's kind of been our bread and butter. And it's also helped us with a lot of our deal conversion as well. And then just in June, we closed 3 deals with the average of 23K in size.
what was your background before your wholesaling?
So I actually went to Virginia Commonwealth University, did supply chain management and analytics there, and then I worked at Capital One headquarters for like a year and a half, and then just hated it. And then
Mhm.
that's when I was like, all right, let me save some money and try to flip some houses and make a bunch of money. Didn't really happen, and then started wholesaling, closed like a couple of deals. It was just enough to kind of get me going, and then yeah, ever since then I kind of quit that in 2022 as well, and just been wholesaling since then.
Feel that. What did you hate about Capital One? I'm just curious.
Bro, I mean, I just hated like having to go into the office.
Uh-huh.
Also too, I was just like super young, you know what I mean? Like now looking back at it, I'm like, I could have definitely like, structured my day better, like, paid attention to most of this stuff. Like, it was just like my first real job out of college.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, man, like I hate this 9 to 5 thing, like this sucks.
Now you work
But
9 to 9, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly what it is. I was talking to my buddy about it yesterday, and I was like, dude, like this shit doesn't end, bro. It's always something. Like it's always like literally this morning, bro. We were supposed to have a closing, and the tenant's refusing to leave now. I think I mentioned that in our channel. So it's just everything, But I wouldn't change it for the world, to be honest.
One of yeah, for sure, bro. It's like the flexibility is so much better. One of the reasons, another reason why I wanted Rob to present to everyone is because I know two reasons or two things. One is like we always talk about people like, oh, you hit 150, 200, 300, whatever, $100,000 a month. But I don't think we shine enough light on like going from like 9 or 10,000 a month to like 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a month. Because it's a bit of a different skill set. And it's also a different transition. So I think this is going to be super beneficial for a lot of people here on the call. Rob and I did like I think you've executed it super perfectly in a very quick time period. So I think like you're a perfect person to talk about it. So
Yeah, for sure. Like I was on a lot of the like the 100K months, 300K month calls, and it's more like systems and managing people where I'm not really there yet. I want to get there, in the next couple of months. But yeah, definitely, started small, still not where I want to be, but progress is progress. So the biggest thing, as soon as I kind of joined Level Up and started meeting with Braden and Nico, the biggest thing was like I was tracking like how many calls we were making and stuff, but I just didn't have my KPIs in order at all. And I was pretty much doing everything. So like I was doing the follow up on the leads, I was managing the cold callers, and it was like I would buy data and it would be like closing my eyes and shooting a gun trying to hit a target if I was going to get a deal or not. So the biggest thing we did was literally just implement daily KPIs where within the first like 3 weeks of doing that, I locked up 2 deals because it literally made me and my team like accountable to like, hey, we need to hit this number in order to get X result. And it literally worked like that. So with our our two cold callers, we expect a minimum of 3 leads per caller a day. So that averages out to like 15 leads total. And then my lead manager, after onboarded her, she's like crushing this outbound call number. She's making like 100 outbound calls a day. But the biggest number for us is those conversations and appointments. Which, if she doesn't hit her 3 appointments, she needs to hit at least like 15 conversations, which she crushes anyway. And then for myself on the acquisitions side, now that I kind of have that lead manager role offboarded, I can literally just spend more time doing acquisitions and making more offers throughout the day. So if I don't make at least 3 offers a day, then I'm making these outbound calls on the follow-up or like going through and digging through like cold follow-ups or dead deals, trying to, see where they're at. And that's been super helpful as well. So that I would think the biggest thing that made my jump is literally dialing in those KPIs because that literally made me able to predict my business versus being reactive to it, if that makes sense.
yeah, I feel like one thing too for me is like, and like, is if you like look at your numbers every day compared to where you're supposed to be, and you have like the right numbers in place, at least for me, like I'm pretty much gonna like feel bad if I don't hit the numbers. It's like
Right, right,
I'm just like, dude, I only got 20 calls or 5 calls. Bro, what the fuck am I doing all day? You know?
right, for sure.
So I think that's super helpful for me too.
And
Is
and
that
it
the same
helps a
thing?
lot too with not to cut you off with like your quarterly planning.
Hmm.
Document that you have, it helps a lot to like have those daily benchmarks because then you could literally like within like a month or two into the quarter, you could literally see if you're gonna hit your goal or not. And that was kind of
Hmm.
the situation with us. We kind of shot a little bit high. We missed our quarter goal by literally like one deal because this land deal is still pending close. But it's literally like because we were looking at those KPIs and I knew we were going to hit it within like a month and a half into the quarter, just with the deals that we had already locked up. So just having those it just takes a lot of stress off of you, especially like when you don't have the biggest team and you're doing a lot of this stuff yourself. When you kind of have this playbook or these KPIs in place, it takes a lot of stress off your plate for sure. The second biggest lever was obviously hiring a lead manager. I kind of did that within the first week or two. The biggest decision was I was honestly just spending most of my time doing follow-ups, not even making offers. Like I was lucky if I was making one offer a day, just because I was doing so many outbound follow-up calls. And then when I did get to a point where it was time to make an offer, I was like frankly just exhausted and I didn't have really my sales pitch in order to actually convert. And the biggest thing was just freeing up my day to focus on the high level or the high dollar amount activities. So pretty much made a job posting. The first cold caller I actually hired through interviewing multiple people through the agency that I worked with in Egypt. Wasn't the best. I mean, the cold caller or the lead manager I hired, she was actually a cold caller and I trained her up great. She was killing it so much that she went and got a sales manager role somewhere else. So the second
Yeah.
person, yeah, the second person I hired was actually a ex acquisitions person that worked with the that used to work at the agency and she's been in the same role for about 4 or 5 years. I interviewed like 4 or 6 people, and then I also interviewed a couple people from Nicaragua. and I used your guy Paco, and we actually ended up moving forward with one of his guys, and he kind of just disappeared. So that's where we onboarded the part-time lead manager to literally just be like, okay, if there's any turnover, I'd rather pay this person, this part-time salary. So God forbid if something happens, I could just promote her to full-time. And that's kind of where we're mitigating that risk.
I like that
Um,
a lot. So okay, so like just to rewrap that, you've been dealing with some turnover on like lead managers from people leaving and whatnot. So you hired a part-time person just to kind of fill the gaps and like be like a
mhm.
benchmark essentially. It's kind of that's pretty smart.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
people are leaving? Because usually like virtual, like at least we found, and maybe it's like it's definitely different for everyone because I've had virtual people disappear too. Why do you feel like people are mainly like rolling out? Because I know one person
So
got promoted, but
Yeah, so the first lead manager I had, I actually thought she was a super rock star, to be honest. She literally left just because she got a better role at like a startup. The guy I hired from Paco just like literally didn't even show up on his first day. But luckily, I had interviewed so many people like before then that I could easily just put somebody in there. And I already knew that there was somebody that I had on my hire list, and that's like
Mhm.
my full-time caller or my lead manager now. And then I also went ahead and hired somebody that I like was the second choice. I was like, hey, look, I can hire you part-time. And then maybe in like a quarter or a quarter and a half, I'll have enough volume to get you on full-time. Or if somebody leaves, God forbid, you could just be put on full-time. And she was like, yeah, that's totally fine with me. And it's like I'm a big believer everything happening for a reason because compared to the numbers that these two are doing, compared to my original person, they're like completely blowing her out the water just because they have way more acquisitions and lead management experience.
Yeah, how many people would you interview to find like your lead managers?
I interviewed the first time I interviewed four. The second time I interviewed six. Because I was just like, dude, I don't really don't want to have this turnover again.
Hmm.
Because it was just annoying. But I mean, once you go through it, you kind of figure it out. I thought the world was ending, to be honest. But I mean, now that I kind of have that rehiring process in place, if it does happen again, I'll kind of, be prepared for it. And then
Hmm.
also too, when I continue to scale, the next person I'll probably hire is gonna just be stateside anyway, and kind of just probably put them on a salary or something. So the training process was pretty straightforward. I did training 3 times a week, whether that would be call reviews, just process reviews, and then I always have a role play as well in one of our training sessions. And then probably within like the first 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how confident I am with their call quality on like the older leads that are already in my CRM, that's when I kind of just offload the new leads to them and they kind of take it over. And then I'll do weekly call audits as well. And then I meet with them on a daily basis just to, even if we don't have a training, I'll do like a 30-minute meeting with all my LMs just to make sure if there's any issues or anything that's going on in the day, I'm kind of accessible to them. And the biggest thing that, hiring those lead managers is obviously you're able to just make way more offers. And then that obviously allowed me to leverage the MLS as well. And then the third, I would say, biggest thing that took my, average fee from like 8.5 to 9K to 24K was literally implementing this strategy, which is the MLS strategy that Chandler talks about all the time. Before joining, I did one novation. It was the worst experience of my life because I really didn't know how to do it. I thought I was gonna make like 35 grand on the place, didn't sell it as is, agreed to do all these rehab numbers, and like walked away with like 7 grand after like 2.5 months of work. It was terrible. So I
Damn.
was like out to myself that I would never do a novation again until like I kind of learned an easier way to do it. And we do it a little bit different. So I know Chandler, you guys in your sales process, y'all always lowball. What I always do, like you always anchor with a really low price. What I do is depending on the temperature of the lead and like the calls that I've listened to before I go on my acquisition call, I'll get a feel for like if I can lowball them enough to get them to a really low cash number, which is like I do sometimes if it makes sense, especially if the house needs work. But one thing I noticed in my leads in my CRM, a lot of these that we're doing are turnkey homes that usually first time home buyers are moving into. And the way I pitch it is like I pitch it as our traditional cash offer or our equity protection slash like our internal marketing process offer and kind of present them with two. I always do the lower one first, and then I kind of brace them for like, hey, we also have this available that got approved as well. And this is kind of how this works. And I always make that one like 10 to 15K lower than where I need it to be. And it's worked amazing. Usually, obviously, the to the super low one, which is like 40, 50% of the value, they're like, fuck no, but I'll entertain this offer. Like, how does this work? And it's helped a lot. That literally has been like my bread and butter on a lot of these bigger deals. And it also allowed me to offer on deals that I usually wouldn't even take a shot at. If it came in my CRM and it was newly built, or somebody had just moved in, it was pretty much turnkey, like I could see the Zillow pictures. I would look at how much they were owed on the property. I'd be like, there's no way that we can even make a deal. So I would honestly just skip those. Which is funny because I did like a case study for one of our bigger deals.
You have pictures
This
for it?
Yeah, I do. I'll show you after the call. I'll pull up the
Okay.
listing. But yeah, so this Woodsman deal, I actually went back through my CRM for this one. And literally this house was built fairly new. I think it was built in like the 2000s. It was like one of those cookie cutter like HOA homes that all the homes look alike. And we went back to the guy, started a conversation with them, and pretty much he knew what his house was worth. He knew on the MLS he could probably minimum get like 425 for it. And I kind of just negotiated to him like, hey, listen, yeah, you could take a shot at that, but you're going through this divorce, you're also working full time. Like, what number are you comfortable walking away with, knowing that that's what we would guarantee you in your pocket? And he was like, honestly, man, like if you could get 400 for me, like I'm all day with it. So at first I was like, okay, it's probably not going to be the biggest deal because I honestly thought we were only going to get like 425 on it. And obviously after paying like closing costs and stuff, I was like, okay, whatever. This was our first innovation, honestly. And literally within the first week, we had maybe like 12 showings and we got an offer for 440. So this deal literally allowed us to just with this deal alone, we like 3X'd our average deal size just by simply going back in and being able to negotiate that process and giving them that guaranteed money. And we presented our regular cash offer and then we presented the one with our marketing process. I was honestly so shook that we weren't even going to get this signed because his ex-wife is a lawyer. So when we were on the offer call, right, we're going through stuff. He's like, honestly, man, like I need you to just send this to my wife. And I was like, can she get on the call? He's like, yeah, she can, but she's gonna read it anyway. So like, you might as well just email it to her. So I literally went on Chat GPT, like made like a little like an email explaining everything in like the most like I guess simplest way possible and making it look like, hey, like we're actually not, like trying to make it digestible for her. And she went through all the paperwork. She's like, hey, like this all looks totally fine. You explained like obviously you're gonna sell this to an end buyer and make some money in between. She just needed some more information on the novation like terms, I guess. And we were able to work it out. And after that, like when she was good with it, now like I don't even like look twice at like trying to convince her, or when I go on an offer call or a contract call, like I really don't even sweat it because like she was a legit real estate attorney. So she was good with finding it. But yeah, this was honestly like one of our bigger deals ever. And I believe it was a first time home buyer that ended up buying this one. And let me see if I can let's pull up some pictures for this.
Shoot that
One sec.
widescreen, dude.
Yeah, no, hold on. How do I unshare this?
Looks like that shit's like something you're gonna play like Forza Motorsports on.
This is one of those gaming screens, bro.
Hell
I got
yeah.
this, yeah. I don't game, but my one of my boys gifted this when I moved. I was like, you are the best person ever, bro. Yeah, so look, it's like really turnkey. Literally all the houses in the neighborhood looked exactly like this. Um, and we kind of just negotiated it. At first, he was not going with it at all. And, when he kind of saw that, like, okay, 420 is probably, what he would confidently walk away with. He was like, dude, if I don't have to worry about selling this house, I don't have to deal with the realtor. You guys literally take it over. And if there are any repairs, y'all take care of them. Like, I'm good with it. So, it was super easy to be honest. And he worked from home. So we kind of just set up like an hour time slot within the first week on each day. And by like Thursday or Friday, we had already accepted an offer. So everything was good to go from there. Um, Well,
That's
yeah,
a good
so
point that you make right here. And I think I've realized this too, is like once you get to a higher price point of a house,
mhm,
20, 30, 30 grand for a lot of these people to deal with having that problem solved and they don't have to worry about it is like a no-brainer. Like
right,
that actually does become like kind of a no-brainer offer. It's like, fuck, dude, only 30K. And you guys will just take that off my hands or 20K or whatever.
right.
Like I would like if I was fucking stressed and whatever, I mean, like, dude, that's like fucking worth it almost, you know?
Exactly. And then also too, like, especially I don't know in the markets y'all are in, but in the market like in Virginia and like Hampton Roads area, we are seeing like people asking for more concessions just like on the flip side. So I kind of always throw that in as well. Like, hey, you might be paying a 6% commission, but like what happens if somebody comes back to you for like closing credits and stuff? Like, you got to kind of take that into your decision too. Um, and we kind of just negotiated on that side. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I had. I guess like I could open it up to questions now if anybody has some.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, open up your mic and go ahead and talk. While people do that, I'll say like, dude, that's like very interesting. I really like the approach of like giving people like the immediate other option where it's like not gonna make it super awkward and they're just like not gonna hang up on you basically. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
dude, disregard that shit and like talk about this one, you know? I like that.
That the reason why I started doing that is because I was actually getting people just hanging up on me and being like, Dude, I'm not even gonna like entertain it." So that's when I was like, all right, like let me at least listen to like maybe the 5 or 6 previous calls that are already saved in the CRM and like get a feel for this person. And if they're like very adamant on no, I need 300K, I need 300K, like don't call me back if it's not 300K. I'll be like, hey, listen, we have this cash offer at like 215, but we got you approved for our equity protection program. This is kind of what that looks like. And we can actually get you up to a guaranteed number of like 275. And usually if I negotiate it right, that 300 is where like I like right under 300 is where I would want to lock it up anyway. So I could kind of get it at like 280, 285. I'll do that all day. Because I mean, from my personal business, I was only making like 8.5K on the deal. So like if I can make 23 to 27K on the deal, I'll do that all day.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
always creating like an offer, especially if you're like knowing someone's gonna probably say no. It's like, be like, dude, like I know you're not gonna accept this, but like this is I
Right.
got it's this. And then they're like, dude, yeah, it's so fucking bad. And then you're like, yeah, I know. Like this other option's like way better though. And they're like, oh
Right.
fuck, you can do that? Hell yeah. I love that. Sage, you got a question? I know you turn your camera on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's up, Rob? Yeah, I had
Bro,
a question, man. So,
you have the latest night DJ voice, bro. Like, because this man got
oh
the
man,
2 a.m. DJ voice.
it's funny though. I do music, so I've always been told that.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, man. So when you pitch these novations or MLS offers, are you telling them that you're selling it to another end buyer and you're not doing any work to it? Some guys like to say, yeah, any work that's requested, we'll take care of that.
Yeah, so the way we pitch it to homeowners is, hey, listen, what we're gonna do is the way I structure it is like, hey, this is what we're gonna guarantee that you net out. However, we would need about 15 to 21 business days to actually go in our network and hit our network of realtors up and find the correct partner or even end buyer on this transaction. And best case scenario, I come to you, Saeed, within the first week and say, hey, look, we found the right partner, right buyer for this. Let's set a closing date. Worst case scenario, we come to you at the end of our due diligence period and to let you know, hey, we market this thing our every day. We're able to get an offer that made sense for this number. This is what we have. And then from there, the decision is on you how you want to move forward. And like 9 times out of 10, unless they're like super, but they want to sell super fast, if you built enough rapport, they'll be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
and like
this,
times when people are like, "Well, I don't want to lock my house up that long." I'm like, "Yeah, that's totally fine. We could close this within 2 weeks, but we would have to be at my original offer to do that."
yeah, yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
and
got you.
then when we sell, we do everything as is. So far it's been working. We really haven't had any crazy requests. I kind of learned my lesson from my first novation, like to not even allow requests because that shit was tragic. So, but
Yeah,
the houses that we are novating, they're like very livable, you know. The
yeah.
few deals that I threw on the MLS that obviously wouldn't work as a novation, I made sure it was cash only. Just because those were like to traditional flippers or like even developers. We sold two land deals on the MLS to
Okay.
developers. So yeah.
How are you pitching that the same way? You're just saying, hey, we're gonna go ahead and find
So the
another buyer
land,
for it.
yeah, so the land deal, I don't even send like the attorney in fact paperwork because I just market my equitable interest on the MLS. And then from there, you know, we just do a regular assignment contract before closing.
All right, sounds good.
Yep.
So you're doing assignments for land because they're buying cash generally?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Are you doing
Yeah.
infill lots or what are you more normally doing?
What was that?
Is it like an infill lot or is it like what kind of parcel is it?
Are you talking about the two land deals that we
The
did?
land deals, yeah.
It was just vacant land that was already attached to water. Both of them had properties on there that got demolished. I think one was like a fire damaged property, and I think the second one, the builder actually bought it like years ago and just didn't do anything with it. I don't really
Mhm.
target land at all, but when it comes to my CRM, I'll try to at least lock it up. And then if I can't move it, I'll send it to like one of my mentors in the Hampton Roads area that has a really robust network of developers. And I was just be like, hey, like if you could sell this, let's just JV this 50-50 and he'll kind of just get it done and send it out to his people. Because I suck at land to be honest. So, but I just don't want to waste the lead, you know.
For sure.
I got a quick question for you.
What's up,
You
brother?
mentioned you mentioned marketing your equitable interest on the MLS. What state are you in?
I'm in Virginia.
Virginia. What type of language do they require you provide in like the agent remarks or just in the if
So
any
in the agent remarks, what we do is I'll just have my realtor put it up and he'll just put it up as is, as like, as if, you know, he'll list it under his like, I don't know what it's called, like agent account or whatever. And then from there, it'll be like marketing equitable interest. And then in the agent remarks, it'll be like forward any calls or questions to Rob Binder at 703-629-0020. And that's how we've been doing it. And then once we kind of get to the point where we accept an offer, we just go ahead and send them over our assignment agreement. And then if the agent needs to get compensated, we'll send over like an addendum or like a commission agreement as well so they could get paid. And usually they're like super good with it. And most of the people that are buying like that, they're familiar with assignments anyway. There's been one time where we kind of had to coach an agent through it. I just hopped on the call and kind of explained it. And then she was cool with it.
have you sold any of those MLS deals to retail buyers using a mortgage?
The novations we have. So the novations where I know it's going to be somebody that's buying retail, I'll just list it through my realtor and I pay him 1% commission on it. And he'll handle everything. And I sign all the contracts as attorney in fact for my buyer. And then at the closing table, my buyers will ultimately be the one that are signing all the closing documents.
Yeah. Cool.
And then what I'll do is I'll actually collect my fee in the form of an invoice. I know you're technically to kind of button everything up, you're supposed to sign like a novation agreement too. We've done that a couple of times, but with the title company we use, we just kind of now what we do is let's say we sell the house for 440, we have it under contract for 400. I'll just make an invoice like and I'll charge the 40,000 minus any closing costs and commissions. And I'll send it over to my title company and they'll actually take my fee from that and they'll deliver my fee in the form of an invoice.
Hey, I had another question too. I know you said having a lead manager was like
Mhm.
a new thing for you too. We just picked one up 2 months ago. What would you say their expectations are as far as what they do throughout the day? Because are they just attacking new leads, or are they also calling through like your not interested and things like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the way that we have my CRM set up is we have our new leads, our working leads 0 to 7, and then our 14, 7 to 14 working leads, and then we have our cold, warm, and hot. So the way we do it is new leads take priority. The 0 to 7, they're calling that 3 times a day, triple dialing it. So they're switching numbers every time they're calling it, and they do that 3 times in the day for the first week. And then once that lead is moved into the working 2 weeks, 7 to 14 days, they're just dialing in twice a day and switching their numbers. So their priorities are new leads, then they go to working, and then they go to 7 to 14. And then the hot leads, those should be appointments anyway. So usually those probably we like to keep less than like 5 or 6 in there because that just means that they're not converting those. And then the warm leads, they'll dial those once a week. And then cold, they'll dial every 2 weeks. And then what we started implementing too is from like the acquisition side. If there's like a deal that just they won't accept or they just don't like our offer at all, we'll actually just move them over to the survey call thing. And then our lead manager will go in and be like, hey, she'll use the survey call script. I don't actually have it. I coached her up on it though. And that's actually been working. We've gotten like 2 appointments just off of that. Like, hey, you spoke with my manager a couple months back. Unfortunately, the offer didn't work, blah, blah, blah. Is there any way that, what can we do to make sure, make it make sense for you? And just open that conversation up. But that's only when like our lead flow is slow on some days and they've already hit all their numbers or all their follow-ups. They'll just go in there and start digging or just go into the dead leads and start digging as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they what
Another
CRM are
important
you
thing.
using?
My
I
bad.
use Cycle Sales right now. So it's built on Go High Level. It's
Okay.
pretty. I was on Podio before. I like this particular CRM just because it has like calling and texting integrated into it. So I really don't need to use my phone anymore. Everything's just online now. So that's pretty much the main reason that I wanted to switch over, to be honest.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, another thing too that's like super important is like just put your LMs on a daily stoplight report and like start monitoring in that
Yeah.
way too. Because if you do that, then they're gonna like you're gonna have a lot more clarity into like what's actually happening.
Mhm.
One question we started asking every day too for our entire team is like, what did you sell yesterday and how did you contribute to revenue? And like everyone should
I
be able to
love that.
contribute to answer like how they contribute to revenue, no matter what position they're in, because everyone's here to produce revenue for the company. Like we're not a nonprofit. So what you'll realize when you first start asking your team that is like not everyone will know. And then it's good training to be able to do that. So
Dang, I like that question for sure. I'm gonna start using that. Yeah, so with us, we kind of go through all the stoplights every morning on our daily huddle. So that holds myself accountable, that holds my co-callers accountable, and as well as my LMs. Um, and if you're red, you're gonna kind of feel like a dickhead because you're literally gonna just have a bright red on the present. They definitely
you
try to
gotta
make
read
sure.
it off too. Like I guess yesterday was red.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what we do. And it kind of just helps keep everybody on track.
Yeah, I think like too, one other thing that I've realized, you know, is if you ever get in a slump and you like it's like the first there's like that there's like a small window when you start doing stuff like this where it's like if someone's red, you have to like correct the behavior like right away. Because if you
Mhm.
let them be red for the first time and like there's no like awkwardness, no consequence, no like conversation about it, then like they'll just be like, oh, it's like not that big of a deal if I'm red, so whatever. It doesn't mean
Right.
anything. If you like make there be meaning for it, then like everything I hear you talk about, Rob, is like you're just like holding a high standard. Like everything's like oh, everyone, we're dogs, we're doing our thing, we're trucking along at a high level. And
Right.
like that's the biggest thing I see people mess up with is like if you just like don't let that red day, that first red day, you don't like make a statement about it or like make it be known that that's not okay, then like usually it continues and it steamrolls until like now every day is fucking red. And then
Right.
you wonder why you can't close deals. And that's just not a good place to be.
No, that's a fact. And I definitely learned from my mistake too. Like with my LM that left, like the last month and a half, I started noticing like red days. And I was just like, what the hell is going on, And come to find out, it was probably because she was trying to get another role. But now like I'm super on it. Like I think since I hired my two LMs, the full-time and the part-time, there was only been like 1 or 2 red days, like since the last like 2 months. So literally, as soon as it happened, I won't do it in front of everybody, but like I'll have a conversation. I'll just be like, "Hey, like let's hop on a call. What happened? What went wrong?" And it's kind of been just a room for ideas as well. Because one of them was like, "Hey, can we start tracking talk time?" Because I was red this day because I literally was on like 3 or 4 long, like super long calls. And I went back and it was literally like 20, 30 minute calls. So we started tracking talk time as well.
Dude, your team will give you so many amazing insights. You let them give you amazing insights. That's like talk
Right.
time, one example of one, but like if you have a problem and just say, hey guys, like how do we solve this? Your team will tell you so many things that will actually be good ideas.
For
So
sure.
yeah,
For sure.
sweet dude. This was awesome. Anyone else got any other questions?
I have another one. It's like the
What's up,
third
brother?
one.
Rocking away, brother.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. So you know what your I think you said your KPIs for your lead managers were what, like 100 and almost 100 calls a day?
Yeah, so for my LM, the KPIs are we need 80. So their goal is 80 outbound calls if they don't have any appointments, and then at least 16 conversations.
Okay, okay. Are
Yeah,
they all
so
doing click to call?
yeah, they're doing so they're in my CRM, so they have to click to call all the leads.
Okay, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and then once you kind of implement like the triple dialing and stuff, you'll see those numbers like start getting skyrocketed. Just
Mhm.
because they'll be calling each lead like 3 times throughout the day.
I got you. I got mine on full time, but it's like they can't get past the 50, 60 range. And I'm trying to figure
Okay.
out if it's a CRM or if it's something else.
What CRM are they using?
I use Podio. It was built out by a developer, a friend
Okay.
of ours. But yeah,
Yeah, so
it's been-
so when they're doing those 50, 60, are they getting appointments?
no, they're not. They're saying a
Okay.
lot of the time people don't pick up.
Okay. Yeah, what I could do is I could kind of send you like my KPIs and stuff or like offline, we could hop on a call and
Yeah, yeah.
I could definitely look into it for you and kind of give you my input as well.
I got you. Sounds good, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it
Yeah, do on Discord for sure.
for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be a volume game. Also, like track their conversations because they may not be talking to anyone either, and that's like bad too. It's like you can make 1,000 calls but talk to one person. I'd still be like, that's a pretty shitty day. Even
Right,
if
for
it's
sure.
hard. Just like banging their head against the wall all day. They're gonna be tired. The next day they're gonna be tired, demoralized. It's not fun. So
What markets are you in, bro?
I'm in Nashville. Really, I would say all of Tennessee right now. We just started doing some more cities, but really anything within Nashville, I will aware of it.
Okay. Heck yeah, that's what's
yeah.
up.
Yeah, Nashville. Another thing too is like have them rotate their numbers and make sure they clean it every morning too if they're not doing that. Like do
Yeah,
the phone number cleaning stuff. But yeah, there's
Yeah,
probably like
that's one thing too, is I started rotating my phone numbers because you'll start getting spammed crazy. So like I try to rotate my numbers like at least once a week.
you're buying a new phone number every week, or just
Yeah.
swapping between them.
So I'll buy them like literally every week. I'll go in and buy both my LMs a new phone number because in my CRM it's
Okay,
literally like $5 or $6. I think like
okay,
maybe like
okay.
something like that. It's not that much. So I'll just buy them a new one every week.
All right,
Yeah.
I got you. I've been using smartphone, but I'm thinking about
Okay.
switching
yep.
it up.
Another thing you could do like we just get like each guy like 6 numbers, so they just rotate them every halfway
Mm,
through the is like one of the things that we do that helps.
okay. And
So
then
if they
Chandler,
go
what CRM are you using? Salesforce?
yeah, Salesforce, but you can do this in any CRM. Like you can have them rotate. Like so, like basically the thing is the process is like, let's say that they're dialing and they
Mhm.
just like don't get any pickups. Like they're less than like a 10-15% pickup rate for like the first like 30-40 calls. They'll just switch a number. It doesn't have to be like at a certain time. It's like you like don't be dumb. Use a new number, test it out, and like make sure they're clean. I think like as long as you're like getting the conversations you want, then that's good. Another thing you could do too is like look at sending a bunch of like bulk text out to where people reply back to you like interested in like an offer or selling or whatever, and then you
Mhm.
can like call them right away, and that's another way you can boost your pickup rate. So where you don't have to make as many dials, but they're like better dials. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
But
makes sense.
yeah, there's just a few things. But anyways, anyone else got any other questions? I know this is super good, dude. I think like everything was honestly dialed. Like I think once you start replacing yourself out of the business, it's gonna be like to the moon in a hurry. What's the next step for you? Like what do you like the next thing you gotta do?
I think the next step for me is I want to continue to streamline this MLS process. I want to get to like a consistent 3 deals a month. Last couple of months, I've been like right there, maybe like a couple more months of that. And then my next step is either going to be um, one, hiring another cold caller, and then two, making my part-time co-caller full-time. And then the
Mhm.
third one is to hire an acquisitions person. Um, once we get enough volume, because right now I just don't have enough volume to justify that. But like when I get to the point where I'm doing like 3 or 4 plus appointments a day, I feel like consistently, I feel like that's when I'll be like, okay, like now I can actually, it makes sense for me to pay an acquisitions person. Um, but yeah, ultimately, hopefully by the end of the year, I'm kind of out of this acquisitions role and then just managing and doing a lot of the dispo stuff.
Nice. Nice. Sick, dude. I definitely think that's super doable.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I want to start exploring like PPL and stuff as well. I'm actually gonna look into that like the end of this month or like mid-month.
Nice. Are you from Virginia? Is that where you live?
Yeah, so I live in Tampa. I bought my house in Tampa, but I'm originally from Northern Virginia. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, how do you I'm actually gonna go to Tampa August 21st to 25th. So if anyone's
Dude,
down in Florida, I'm
dude,
willing to
hit me
link
up.
up.
We could definitely link, man. What part are you staying in?
Dude, I don't even know. My buddy has an event down there and I'm going to
Okay.
speak at it. And I'm just gonna go hang out for like 4 or 5 days. So I'm staying at his house.
Hell
I don't even know where the fuck he lives. He lives in Tampa, downtown-ish.
All right,
And I'm
hell
sure
yeah.
yeah,
We'll definitely link, bro. I live like 10, 15 minutes from downtown. So
sick. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll
we're
hit y'all.
definitely good.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
anyone else in South Florida? I know there's a bunch of people in Florida in Level Up. I don't think there is anyone else in South Florida here. No, I don't think there's anyone in South. That's
Brennan, Brennan lives in Florida as well, right?
yeah, Brendan lives in Florida. He lives in Miami, but they're moving. They're actually moving to Texas like next week or something.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, because here's where he's from is Texas. But
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
yeah, dude, I appreciate it, Rob. This was sick, bro. Super good work, bro.
Appreciate you too,
Congrats.
brother.
Keep the hard work up, dude. You're crushing it.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to keep it rolling. Appreciate all the help for real too, man.
Okay. How many cold callers do you have, and how many leads are you doing? How many leads are
I
you
have,
getting a month?
I have two cold callers and a month we're at, let me pull it up, sorry. I don't have it off the top of my head. We're at like around 100 to 120 leads a month right now.
Man, okay.
So also too, since I have that lead manager full time, our cold calls are really like they're not like it's literally like, do you have a house and do you want to sell? And then from there, that's where like we kind of put it in, consider that a lead in our system, if that makes sense.
Hey, Rev, you might have covered this earlier, and I apologize for that, but we have about two full-time cold callers as well and an LM, and we do the same model.
Mhm.
What data set are you guys going after? Because we're nowhere near those numbers.
Yeah, so what we predominantly do is prop stream data. And then also what we'll do is like we'll start stacking a lot of the lists that we've had success with using REI Sift and just kind of cycle through those. It might just be our markets as well. And then also as we pull a lot of government data. So whenever we run out of government data from the month, whether that be like co-violations that are refreshed or probates, that's when we'll probably pull like, a 5 to 10K prop stream list and then run that for the rest of the month until we get our new batch of government data, if that makes sense.
No, it makes absolute sense. We're actually doing the same exact thing. We use REI Sift, stack it, but I mean, yeah, our numbers are
What
nowhere.
dialer are you using?
We're using call tools.
We use ready mode. I know we were using call tools before, but we made the switch and it's helped. So you should definitely look into it. But yeah, we were using call tools probably like 6 months ago.
Okay. And is that just because of the automated abandon rate option from Ready
Yeah,
Mode, or what's the
yeah.
biggest difference there?
I mean, honestly, I think that's been the biggest difference. It's helped the connectivity rate a lot. But I've definitely seen like a large switch from going from call tools to ready mode
Okay. I'll definitely have to take a look into it.
for sure.
Cool, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
How much do you train your
Yeah.
cold callers, Rob?
What was that?
How much do you train your cold callers?
I train them like when I hire them, I train them like for twice a week for the first 2 weeks. And then also the agency I work with, they do weekly trainings as well that I'm a part of. Um, and I'm just like listening in. So they're like super solid. So they'll get a lot of trainings throughout the week, and then they always get 1 hour a week of training. And we'll kind of just go through some of their calls that have been pushed as well. Like, hey, this is where you could have done this, or you might have not wanted to say this. So
Hmm.
they get training from me like once a week.
And you outsource, I might have missed this earlier, but you outsource those cold callers to a company?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Who is
Yeah.
it?
Which company was that? Yeah.
It's a ROI beast. I can get with Chandler and then you guys could kind of get all that information. If you guys are interested, I can send you their information as well. I've been with them for like a year and a half now, and they're super solid. And they produce a lot of rock stars for sure.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that because we were using a company out of Egypt too, but there was just too much turnover with those guys.
Oh yeah, no, bro. Definitely hit me up, man. I'll get you in contact with my guy that owns it. These people are solid and I've pretty much had the same team. The only turnover I might have is like the caller might like get promoted, but they'll have somebody that's more than qualified to fill in. And then, they've already been trained up with the script and my other cold caller as well. So that if there is a turnover, I always have one person that's like already solid, if that makes sense.
Facts. Yep. Oh yeah, I'll
What's
definitely.
running you?
What was that?
What's it running you per caller?
I paid so they charge $6 an hour per caller.
Do they have the like an upfront massive payment?
Nah, mm-mm. I pay
Yeah,
hourly, and I believe I pay twice a month.
yeah. I'm
So
How
definitely
much is
interested.
it hourly?
yeah, it's hourly.
How much? How much is the hourly rate?
My hourly rate is $6 an hour. Because I've been locked in for like the last year and a half. I don't really know what their rate is now, but I could get that information and share it with y'all.
Do you deal with all the management for the callers, or do they have like a manager that deals with
They
the
have
call?
They have a sales manager, but I work like hand in hand with her. So I'll meet with her on a weekly basis, and I'll meet with like my whole vertical. So their sales manager, my cold callers, my lead manager, and my data managers. I'll meet with them every day in our daily huddle. And then I'll have my individual meetings with each person as well.
Nice. Yeah, we were outsourcing as my brother just said. We tried to bring it in house, but it's tricky, man. It's tricky
Yeah,
when you don't have one that's on top of them the entire time. So,
yeah.
but they use your dialer, you said, right? So they'll use
Yeah,
your
they,
ready
yeah, they
mix.
use yeah, they use my dialer. I'm pulling the data. I've kind of trained my data manager on how to do it, so she takes that off of my plate now. Um, and yeah, so everything's in-house. They use all my credentials for everything, so I kind of have that piece controlled. I just have a good relationship with them, like almost like a year and a half, 2 years now. And they've been super solid for me so far.
Awesome. And then for probate, we've got one of our VAs right now, pulling probate every Monday, like
Mhm.
from most of the towns that we could get it from in our state.
Mhm.
You're pulling it once there's a fiduciary assigned, basically?
Yeah, yeah, and then we'll skip trace and call that person.
Nice. And will you just approach it just as a straight cold call? You won't mention the
Yeah,
probate?
so with that one, I was testing it a little bit of different ways. First, we were just approaching it as straight cold call, and then we started approaching it like, hey, listen, are you interested in selling this property located at XYZ Street? And by that time, like, they obviously know that they're in charge of it. We won't really touch on like, oh, somebody died, do you want to sell it? We'll just kind of approach it as if they were the owner, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, that
Yeah.
does for sure.
Yeah, so we won't even mention like, oh, probate or somebody died. Like it literally just be a regular cold call, but we'll say they're the owner of that property. Like we'll act as if they're the owner of that property.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do too. We sent out mailers. We tried both,
Mhm.
and we got I got a rough call from a woman when we like addressed the death and like, apologies for the loss. So I don't recommend it.
How has the mailers been for you?
We were doing it on Deal Machine and
Mhm.
we didn't have much success. We only ran it for like maybe a month, very targeted to like a really nice area where we wanted to find knockdowns. We didn't
Right.
get any we didn't get any callbacks on it.
Okay.
But I mean, I think we weren't. I think that it could work, you know what I mean. But I just don't think for the people that we were targeting, like
Right.
they weren't targeting people with any pain. We were just targeting, like I said, like really good areas. And those people know that they could just sell, list it, and get top dollar.
For sure, for sure. No, that makes sense. Yeah, like right now we're just cold calling. I definitely want to ex like start including some different marketing channels. I was doing SMS for a bit, but I just didn't have any success, probably because I didn't have any KPIs in place because was before I got my KPIs locked in. So maybe I'll explore that as well. But right now, cold calling has been kind of my bread and butter.
Yeah, us too. The Chandler put me in touch with someone for YouTube marketing last week, and I
I
think
was
we're gonna explore that. I think we're gonna get started probably this month. We're letting the quarter wrap up, but jump on a call with them if you got some time. It's a little pricey, but like the way that he breaks it down for
What's
you.
the budget you think you need?
Say that again.
What budget do you need would you think you would need to start with that?
So he was recommending a $5,000 budget
Uh,
for to get started for the month, and he thought
okay.
that was nice. But yeah, when he broke down kind of how they reach, who they reach, what you're actually paying for, like you're only
Oh,
actually paying if your ad runs 30 seconds.
mhm.
So and then they were saying like basically they'll just as soon as the ad comes on, it's just directed at they're not trying to string anyone along, like they're coming out exactly with whatever they're trying to target. So if it doesn't, if it doesn't qualify to whoever's watching it, typically they'll just skip through. You won't even get charged with it. So we're probably gonna jump into that.
Yeah, Chandler, I'm definitely going to DM you to see if you could put me in contact with those folks.
Yeah, I can. His name's Corey, dude. He's fucking good, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He the dude's fucking dialed. He's really like I like say that with like you recognize when someone's fucking good and he's good. So
Okay. Oh yeah,
but I'll put you in touch with him. Shoot me a text.
I will.
Sweet. All right, gentlemen, I gotta roll. We got 1 minute
All
to the
right.
time. Rob, this is sick, dude. Everyone I think got a lot of value. I got a lot of value.
Oh yeah.
And dude, just seeing like people implement the system and replicate it at a high level is super sick. So I
Sure.
love to hear.
Appreciate y'all. And if y'all need me to put y'all in contact with the VAs or anything, just shoot me a DM and I'll hook y'all up for sure.
All right,
Sure.
thanks, Ron.
What was the
I
name of the
appreciate it.
CRM you used?
Cycle sales.
Type Sales? Thanks, man.
Yep, no doubt. All right, y'all.
All right, peace, bro. Thank you.